90 minutes. Alright, let's get it on. Hey, what's going on, friends? Yes, it's another lame video from your old pal Jackhammer Mike. Almost 3 months since my hip surgery. I feel fantastic. Almost all the pain is gone. In fact, really the only pain I have now is when I'm using my leg and my muscles that I haven't used in a long time because of the pain. You know, walking sideways, limping, hunching over, and all this shit. Ugh. I don't have any of that anymore. So when I get out in the field and all, I've still got my office job, but when I get out in the field, I'm using muscles that I haven't used for a while. So I get a little sore here and there. It's certainly tolerable, much more tolerable than it used to be. But anyway, here we are, 3 months post-op. And when I got back, started to do these, or started to put some content out again after surgery, and said we're going to get back to basics. And I think you need to get back to basics faster and faster than you think. There's a couple of reasons why. One is, the most important, is Joe Potato Head and Heels Up Harris being in the White House are doing jack shit for anybody. Okay, they're just absolutely useless individuals. I didn't want to get into that. Anyway, the bigger picture is that we've had 2 major ransomware shutdowns, and when that happens, you've got people that are hacking into the system, controlling. Right now, they did 40% of the East Coast's oil fuels pipeline, shut that down, and then we're the world's largest meat producer here in whatever state it was. They got hacked, and so that disrupted food chains. Now, it seems to be something that nobody in this administration is addressing. They don't seem to care about it. In fact, Heels Up Harris said this the other day, or no, it was the press secretary. Gosh, she's a mess. Anyway, here's what she said about it.
On the JBS hack, these hackers based in Russia have disrupted American gas supplies and American meat supplies. Why do you think that these ransomware attacks have been rising since President Biden took office?
Well, first I would say these are private sector entities who have a responsibility to put in place measures to protect their own cybersecurity. As it relates to why criminal actors are taking actions against private sector entities, I don't think I'm the right one to speak to that.
So total coincidence.
I think you could certainly go track down those cyber criminals in Russia and have a good chat with them.
So there could be some major problems. You know, we could have the grid get shut down and be in a world of hurt. So why you still have power, why you still have a job, hopefully you do, why it's still available, we need to buck up and get a few things done. Some of the basics, getting back to basics as far as prepping goes. Water purification, huge. Making your own chlorine bleach. In fact, here, if you store up on chlorine bleach, the rule of thumb is that it's going to only last 6 months, and then it starts to degrade 20% every 6 months after that, so they say. It doesn't last forever. This totally does not last forever. So stocking up on a whole bunch of bleach is not necessarily going to help you. However, have several of these bottles, because you make your own bleach using pool shock. Okay, you can find it on FEMA. You'll find it on a few other sites, legitimate, well credentialed sites. It's not like we're making some sort of hillbilly product. Everyone knows that you can put bleach as long as it's not it doesn't have any perfumes in it, algicides, softeners, no BS of any kind. Flat out, just straight bleach. Now, let me give you a disclaimer here. Treating your water with bleach, iodine, whatever you want to use, only makes it biologically safe. It does not make it chemically safe. So even though you purified it, and you won't get dysentery or malaria or whatever other creepy crawlies you might get from germs being in the water, it doesn't do anything as far as contaminants, petroleum products. Well, who knows what gets dumped into a river or stream upstream from where you are. That stream comes down, you're hot, you're thirsty, you're looking at that water, oh, it looks so good, it's so cool, it's so clear. Oh, I gotta drink some of that. Oh, hold on, buckaroo. You better have a water filter, something with activated charcoal in it, because that could have chemicals poured into it from upstream. Try to poison it. It could have who knows what algicide poured into it if it comes from a pond. They pour algicide in there to get rid of the weeds, so that you don't have any weeds, and the cattle and stuff can get to your cattle tanks and get to the ponds. Who knows? Okay, you don't want to drink it. Don't assume that it's good. If you do, you're going to be in a world of hurt. So right now we're talking chemically safe. Maybe on one of the next videos I put out, I'll do the Catadine water filter that I have. My cache sites, I've got a couple of them. The Catadine I chose, it's a great system. Anyway, getting back to making our own bleach. What you're going to need is calcium hypochlorite. Okay, sodium hypochlorite is salt. You can get this at your pool shop or your pool store. Just plain old pool shop. You want to get it where it doesn't have algicides in it. It doesn't have any additives to it, and it's you want to try to get 74%. I used to be able to get it. Now this is only 73. 73 is about the minimum that you want to be using for this. Here's a MSDS sheet for this particular type of shock, and you can see the calcium hypochlorite in there, and then here's the other ingredients, because there's 27% inert ingredients in here, and most of it is just to allow this to pour, process through the machinery and things like that. It won't cake, and there's some salt in here and so on. So here's how you make it. I'm going to include this recipe for you, or a formula to be able to do this. But let's just read it. Let's just go over this real quick before we put this thing together. Add and dissolve 1 heaping teaspoon of high-test 73% granular calcium hypochlorite, approximately 1/4 ounce. All right, for each 2 gallons of water. Now, how are you going to measure out 2 gallons of water? If you don't have a jug already, definitely don't use these. You don't want to use anything like this to measure out drinking water. Okay, it's got to have its own gallon jug, or basically just eyeball it. Take a 5-gallon jug, try to split it into 3 pieces or 5 pieces, and measure off of that. When you're on the sticks, or shit hits a fan and you don't have anything, you're just going to have to improvise. So try to measure out a gallon if you can, or try to use a gallon jug if you can to measure this water out. We're going to get a heaping teaspoon of this for 2 gallons of water. So that means basically a gallon, you're going to get a heaping half a teaspoon. All right, right here, half a teaspoon for a gallon of water. Now, this, to be clear, or let me be clear on this.
So let me be clear. So let me be clear. So let me be clear.
This is to make liquid bleach. Okay, this is not to add to purify your water. It'd be way too strong. Okay, you need to make your liquid bleach, and then you add your liquid bleach to the water, the eyedropper or whatever you want to use. So getting back into it, let's see, 1 heaping to 2 gallons of water, and then to disinfect water, you'll make chlorine, a solution of stock chlorine at 500 mg/L, something per liter. I don't know what the mg, milligrams. I thought milligrams were MIL, but whatever. 500 mg per liter. They don't do it in parts per million on this recipe, but there's a lot of them out there. If you want to use something better, go for it. To disinfect the water, now you want to add chlorine solution in the ratio of 1 part of chlorine solution to each 100 parts of water to be treated. This is roughly equal to adding 1 pint of stock chlorine to each 12.5 gallons. Now, why do they say 12.5 gallons? Well, it looks to me like they've broken this up a little bit and kind of quartered it. So follow me on this. 12.5 gallons times 2 is 25 gallons, correct? 25 gallons times 2 is 50 gallons. So I think what they're doing is they're taking a formula for a 50-gallon drum and they're splitting it up as they go, smaller and smaller increments. Because, I mean, who's going to, 12.5 gallons, how are you going to measure that out? Unless you have a gallon jug or something that you can measure. Anyway, so they're basically breaking that up, which is why I've got this pint chart here. This little chart kind of tells you, okay, well, how much is in a pint? Well, it says how many cups in a pint. If we remember, 8 ounces equals 1 cup. 2 cups equals 1 pint, or 16 ounces. Okay, 16 ounces is a pint. And there are generally 2 cups per pint. So if you had that formula, then you can start dividing it up and making it into smaller increments. Not everybody's going to have 12 gallons of water at one time to disinfect. Right? But this is a basic recipe. This is how it's done. Now I'm going to show you a picture of my cash box, and you can, inside it you can see the 2 5-gallon jugs that I've got in there. Those are food grade jugs. I picked them up at Winco. You can use anything, Walmart or Home Depot, 5-gallon buckets. You can use anything like that. However, if you're out scrounging and you're trying to find 5-gallon buckets, make sure you look at them and clean them. You don't know what's been in them. There could have been something toxic in there at one point. There's definitely, if there's any oil or anything in it, forget about it. You just don't have, and shit hits the fan, you probably are not going to have the materials to clean that enough to where you could use it for drinking water. Hell, it doesn't even have to be a bucket. It can be a container, any kind of a container, 12 liters or something. Something like that, kind of a container. What is that? 29 quart. So, there's all kinds of different ways to do it. But that's the basic formula, sodium hypochlorite. This will store indefinitely. This is dry, it's powder, it's, again, this will store indefinitely. It will not degrade like this will. Okay? So now you can make your own bleach. And a little bag goes a long ways. This thing, I want to say that the thing will treat like 10,000 gallons or something ridiculous like that. This is going to treat a lot of water. Okay, so let's get rid of our deal. Oh, there's another little hint. If you have this stuff mixed up, once you add it to your water, it's like iodine tablets or anything else, you're going to want to stir it occasionally, and you're going to want to let it set for about a half hour before it's biologically safe. And then this is why having 2 buckets is fantastic. This is what you need it for. If it's still got kind of a strong chlorine smell to it, what you're going to want to do is you're just going to want to aerate, which means pour each bucket back and forth so that you're getting the water aerating. The chlorine will come out of solution and evaporate, and it won't have such a strong odor if it does. And that's why you can add too much to this, and it isn't going to really hurt anything, because you're going to rinse it out. And again, remember what we said, it's only biologically safe, it's not chemically safe. So once you get it aired out real good, then you're going to want to put it through whatever kind of a water filter you've got, and that's going to get the chemicals out of it. You also, again, aerating it is going to help get some of the chlorine out, so it's not being pulled out by the water filter, and it saves a little wear and tear on that water filter. Chlorine is not our friend unless you're disinfecting something. Other than that, a lot of things don't like chlorine. So, all right, now before I get to, or one last little thing, I'm not going to break down these. You can use, again, looking from the last video I did and doing powders, you can certainly break down this big bag into a whole bunch of little vacuum sealed bags. I'm not going to do that with these. These are just too big, too massive, and I'm just going to put them on a shelf in the storeroom and have them for just a case. Excuse me. So what you want to do, you can tell it's already sealed and it's pretty airtight. Okay, there's a lot of resistance, airtight. In the top of the bag, you just want to poke a couple holes in there at the top, because you're going to cut the top off anyway when you go to open this thing up. So just put a couple holes in there, fold it over, and we're going to be rocking here in a minute.
We are experiencing technical difficulties. Please stand by.
There we go. All right. Let's put that aside for a minute. So let's now, there's a link below that shows you how to make hand sanitizer. You just make it, regular bleach, the regular bleach formula. You don't have to go too crazy with it. Will get you the same results. I do know that I'm going to have to use the quart bag because I can't get all this into it without using the quart bag. So get this in here. Let's put this on top. I guess I don't even know which way is going to be the top once I get the bottom cut off, or the excess cut off. But let's just, well, you know what, we can go like this. Make this better. Come on. Make it all pretty. Now, as I've got this folded in here, I just blocked out a lot of the label, so I can't tell what it is. However, right here, it's got the active ingredients list and everything, and you can see it, calcium hypochlorite, 73%. That hopefully won't get covered up. 73%. All right. So now you're going to need something to mix it with, right? You go to the dollar store, get yourself some measuring spoons. I don't really, this measuring cup I have in the cash container, it's actually stuffed inside the bucket that's in there for bigger things. But for right now, you're going to need definitely at least the half teaspoon and the whole teaspoon measurements. Can't hurt you to have the other ones too. You can use them for whatever. Alright, but put them in nice and neat. Now, what happens to this big bag? And you know what I've always liked to do, what I've always liked to say, is that the smaller the packet, the more versatile it's going to be. So with this packet in here, I can probably get a couple dozen maybe of these little ones. I could trade these for barter. This will get, say, this will do disinfect 10 gallons of water. Who knows? So what I'm going to do is I'm going to put and include a bunch of Ziplocs in here. I've got 10 Ziplocs in here, so that if I do have to trade, yes, it's going to suck to have to cut that bag open, but I can put everything else in here. It'd be airtight or somewhat airtight, and it won't be such a problem. But you know, I got a busy schedule. I don't want to go, and you should go in and make as many of these as you can so that you could trade this. Water purification, people are going to run out of iodine. They're not going to have the water filter stuff. They can boil shit all day long as long as they've got fire. If they don't have fire, now what? You know what I'm saying? So oh, I'm going to put the instructions in here for the formulas in here, down in there. I think what I want to do is have this formula right here on the outside so people can kind of see what it is. There we go. Alright. Now, let's get this in the vacuum sealer. I figured out what I was doing on this thing. I had it on wet, moist food, and that changes the whole dynamics of how this thing operates. Alrighty. There you have your water purification kit. And a nifty extra bag, but here it is, hard as a rock. Again, get your bags, get your measuring cups, get your calcium hypochlorite, and that's what it's going to look like when you're done. Awesome. So there's probably enough disinfectant in there for years of water purification. Let's do one more because I've got it. And again, you're gonna poke a couple holes in the top to squeeze the air out of this thing. Let's do it this way this time and put this on the outside. Okay, so while we're learning as we go, we want to kind of make sure we know what this is. So let's put this on the outside. Definitely will have the ingredients list here and the percentages of ingredients. There you go. This ends with the easiest to get in there. Once it goes. There we go. Once it goes good. Alright, so here we are on the outside pack. Let's get 10 bags in here. 1, 2, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9.
Today, Junior.
There we go. Now you can dole this out. Keep this. You got to keep it dry. That's the only enemy. Again, water is such a double-edged sword. It is our friend and it's our enemy on a lot of things. So again, I kind of just fold this in half. You can see that this is a bigger end right here. So if I fold it in half, it's not so bad. Stays kind of even. Let's get this in here. And then we need to have the formula in here. That go in the back where nobody's seeing it. Down all the way. There we go. Beautiful. Alright. So that's how you make your own bleach, folks. Sodium hypochlorite, pool shock, no algicides, no perfumes, no crap, just flat out sodium hypochlorite. Calcium, God, I keep saying sodium, you gotta watch that. It's calcium hypochlorite. Alright. It's awesome when it does that. Alright, so back to basics. Water purification, using pool shock, calcium hypochlorite. You can make hundreds, if not thousands of gallons of bleach with this that you can use to sterilize your water. Alright, any questions, go to FEMA. What is the other one? I think the EPA has some stuff on there. Just do a search on Google for making bleach with pool shock and you'll find all sorts of things. Again, 74 is where you want to be. I don't know if you can find it on Amazon. I didn't bother to look. They used to have 74, but now this is 73, which is, you know, the minimums, standards. Actually, most people say 70-ish, 70-ish. But here it is. Boy, that's awesome. Now this stuff will stay airtight, hopefully. You could smell the chlorine in here, but hopefully it's just the smell, not the, you know, there's no powder residue or whatever on the outside from manufacturing that's gonna degrade the bag any through it. We'll have to see. There's no real sharp edges. These spoons don't have sharp edges on them. Again, you don't want to be messing around with it too much, though. You know, don't dick around. And you know, the less you abuse these or move them, the longer they're going to last. Completely airtight, completely safe. It's a 1 pound bag. You know, if you were to need to go out and hike, you're certainly not going to want to take that much with you, or if you do, you're going to learn how to use just a micro amount to do a canteen of water or something like that. You got to be really careful. You overdo it on here and you're going to get the squirts for sure. Maybe a bellyache, you might puke, hard to say. And with the doing it by the canteen, you are going to not really have a way to aerate it, so it's going to smell like skank water for sure. Look at this cattle pond. Again, that water is green as it can be, and you know, you certainly don't want to just go in there and start chugging on it. You want to definitely purify it. Whether it's going to have chemicals in it or not, probably not. However, you if you take a chance, you know, you fuck around, you're going to find out. You know, play stupid games, win stupid prizes. So with that being said, hope you guys are having a good June 6th. Happy D-Day anniversary. please try to remember what our boys back in World War II sacrificed to grant freedom to Europe and keep the oppressive Nazi regime away from the United States of America. Crazy war, you know. That D-Day was insane, and you know, Private Ryan kind of shows it the best. And it's a very graphic scene when those boats are starting to hit the beach, and the gate opens up, the ramp comes down from up on the hill. That machine gunner is just unloading on the opening, and it's just, you know, plowing through 20-30 guys on that boat, just shredding them before they even had a chance to get off. So the horror of that would have been just insane. So try and remember our boys, try and remember the day, and that's all she wrote. I'm out.